I just wanted to produce a short video to show you some of the features of the Pi-PicoRx and the controls for general everyday sort of use. If you look at the main screen up here, you can see you have the mode, the volume, the battery status. In this case, it's being powered by the USB connection down here. The received signal strength, the frequency, the small number down here is the frequency step. Then you have a bar graph S meter running across the bottom. Now there are two basic controls, which is the tune selector, which is the if I just rotate that there, you can see that I will change frequency by the tuning step that's currently being set. And there are then two push button controls for moving forward and backward, also changing the display. If we just look at the one on the left here, this rotates through a series of displays that are available on the standard unit. There you have the frequency, then you have a waterfall display, a fairly basic one there, but you can see in this case here, you can see the very strong AM signal here and the upper and lower sidebands either side of it. You can vary the width of that display, which I'll show in a moment, but then you can just continue to rotate through. That has more of a time-based waterfall. Just simply looking at the fallout from the waterfall, if you will, going across. This provides some of the status indications of the state. 5 volts supply from the USB, CPU temperature. You're showing the CPU load there at 74%. This is actually running a Pico rather than a Pico 2. The Pico 2 will approximately halve the CPU load, but the standard Pico is quite adequate for the task. Then we have a standard S meter kind of display, the splash screen, then the scanner setup, and sorry, there's some of the scanner details there, and then we're back around to the standard display. If you want to change, there's a whole range of options that are available, and you simply press the menu button here. Press the menu, then it will bring up a range of options for you to scroll through. Frequency, memory recall, memory store, the volume. If I press this here, you can see you can change the volume from the Pico itself, or you can actually use the volume control over here to the external speaker. It doesn't change this, but it actually changes the volume that's being represented by that. So if I put that back to, let's go back to maximum volume, and then I'll just come back in through here again, frequency, recall, store, volume, mode, so you can change between upper sideband, lower sideband, AM, etc. The automatic gain control speed, the number of ranges there, the bandwidth that's being displayed, the squelch, the auto notch, de-emphasis, IQ correction, spectrum zoom, which varies how much of the spectrum you see at any one particular time, the start of the band stop for scanning, frequency step that you're using. In this case here, I'll just go and change that back to say down to 1 kilohertz. Then we come back around, you can see this is now changed to 1 kilohertz. So fundamentally that's the basic operation of it. The other thing perhaps show there's a lot of detail associated with hardware configuration. You can change quite a number of parameters in here relating to the display itself. If you're using external TFT color, display contrast, the OLED type, changing the rotation of the LED, frequency calibration mode to adjust the frequency to make sure you've got an accurate calibration, hardware gain control, IQ swapping, encoder resolution, reversing the encoder's direction, regulator mode, and display timeout. We're back around to the same thing again. You exit from it at any stage by just simply pressing that button there on the left. The way you access the memories on this thing is you press the encoder, and you can store up to 500 memories in the Pico, and then you simply rotate through the memories. You can see, if you look on the top here, this little number there represents the memory slot that you're currently viewing. 402 ABC radio. So you can see here I stored in the local AM stations here in Sydney. Just continue to rotate through. Then you've got all of the medium broadcast bands, shortwave listening bands. That's primarily for scanning if you want to do that. Then there are some unique frequencies in here. So it starts you to the 10 meter SSB section for 12, 15, 17, 20, all the way through. Then we move on to the CW areas of the bands if you want to do that. Packet PSK, then on to FT8, then on to FT4. So there's frequencies in there at the moment in the standard configuration for each of the emitter bands. If we just go back, that should give you an idea of the quick menu access and the way the menu works on the Pico. Now, in addition to the standard ways of changing things going through the menu system that I just showed, there are a number of shortcuts that can be used in order to speed access to the various functions. You saw here, if I rotate the main dial here, the encoder dial, the frequency changes by the step that's actually indicated at the bottom here. Now, if I hold down the menu button and turn it again, it will actually increase it tenfold. So the step change will be 10 times the value that's shown here on the bottom. So now here you can see I'm incrementing at 1 kilohertz. If I actually hold down the back button and rotate the encoder, it will actually change it by 1/10 of the amount. So here you can see it's actually changing it by 10 hertz rather than the 100 hertz that we're seeing there in the first place. Now, if I hold down both, it will actually move it by 100 times the indicator there. So if I hold both down, I can't do it with while I'm trying to film at the same time, but if I hold both down and then try and turn the knob in the center, it will actually move in 10 kilohertz segments as it works its way through. Now, in order to change the volume up and down, if you simply, remember the volume is indicated by the little graph that's shown there. If I press down the encoder and rotate it, you can see the volume is lowering and increasing as we work through there. That's of course if you're not using the volume knob over here on the side. Another couple of interesting things, if you hold down the menu button and the encoder at the same time and change, you can see that the mode that is changing up at FM, CW, AM, etc. So that's a quick way of changing the mode. And finally, a quick way of changing the frequency step up and down is to hold down the back button, press the encoder and return, and you can see there that the frequency step for the main rotator dial is constantly changing. Now, of course, you can change the frequency of the mode using cat control, and I'll show that next. You can see here, these are the settings that you need to affect cat control. Obviously, you use your own COM port that you're connected to, but it operates as a Kenwood TS480. The various configuration parameters you need to put around here. The key point is you need to have the data terminal ready high in order to be able to work with the Pico. So anyway, I've got that set up here as part of FLRig, and I just demonstrate the changing frequency and the mode of operation using that. Now, it works both ways. So right now, I've connected to the AM band. You can see I'll just turn the volume down, the radio's working there. And if I change frequency using the band memory or the memory slots that are in there, you can see as I change frequency, the frequency changes up here. So not only does it change on the radio, it also changes on FLRig at the same time. So if I go up to FLRig here and I want to just mouse over that, I can change frequency. You can see on the Pico it's incrementing by 1 kilohertz at a time. You can actually increment down to a single hertz. So quite a very degree of fine control in terms of the frequency of reception. You can see the VFO frequency is changing as I swap between VFO A and VFO B. Similarly, the mode can change. If you look on the top left-hand corner there, you can see the mode currently in AM. Switch it to lower sideband, switch it down to CW, switch it to FM if you're FM on the HF band, and then we simply go back to AM, as you can see here. It's very nice because it's so easy to just scroll your mouse wheel through the over the frequency, and both up and down you can see that the Pico responds accordingly. Now just demonstrating the use of cat control with WSJTX. The parameters are shown here. The key issues: make sure you have the data terminal ready set to high. I test the cat. That should come back and we're all okay. It's successfully talking to the Pi-PicoRx. And you can see here, if I change frequency let's go down to 40 meters, you can see that the Pi-PicoRx down the bottom here changes frequency in accordance with the just flipping from one band to another down to 80 meters, back up to 15 meters. So very easy to use, and a cat control is working well with that.
Little protocol there to get a QSL card to recognise this call, which is one of the... Starting with VK2, VAI Manny, you like to give VK4 Alpha Hotel Charlie a call? Charlie Alpha Charlie from Victor Kilo 3 India Delta X-ray. Well, very nice to talk to you, friend. I hope you have a lovely weekend.
Certainly, this is an area where we have a big gap. If you look at a lot of
driving I mean, it's been a fantastic start to the people I ever met as far as real. It is, they are against it.
Khi mạnh là kêu vượt qua nên dùng. Thấy trong có cái mạnh là thằng mày thấy trong có cái mạnh là thằng mày